What's the big hype about sourdough bread? You've probably heard about it, seen it, or even tasted it. But what makes it so special? Let's break it down. Sourdough bread is a traditional type of bread made from a simple yet magical mix of ingredients: flour, water, salt, and naturally occurring yeast. This yeast, along with friendly bacteria called lactobacilli, are the stars of the show. They interact to ferment the dough, creating a natural leavening process that sets sourdough apart from other breads. This fermentation not only gives sourdough its distinctive tangy flavor, but also contributes to its unique texture with a chewy crust and an airy, holy crumb. So with just these four basic elements and a bit of time, sourdough bread transforms into a delicious and wholesome staple that has captured the hearts and taste buds of many. With just flour, water, salt, and naturally occurring yeast, this bread has become a beloved staple in many households. Apart from its unique taste and texture, sourdough bread also provides an array of health benefits. Now let's delve into the wellness wonders this humble loaf has to offer. First up, let's talk about digestion. The traditional fermentation process of sourdough involves wild yeast and lactobacilli cultures. This biological duo works magic on the dough, breaking down complex proteins including gluten and phytic acid. The result? A bread that's easier on your digestive system. Moving on to the glycemic index. For those not in the know, the glycemic index measures how foods affect our blood sugar levels. Foods with a lower glycemic index are digested slower, resulting in a more gradual rise in blood sugar, which is generally better for our bodies. Sourdough's fermentation process alters the structure of the starches in the bread, leading to a lower glycemic index compared to many commercially produced breads. Now, let's touch on gut health, a buzzword in the wellness world. Our gut is home to trillions of microbes, collectively known as the gut microbiota. These microscopic residents play a crucial role in our overall health. So, how does sourdough factor into this? Well, sourdough fermentation produces beneficial bacteria and prebiotics, food for our gut microbiota. Consuming sourdough can contribute to a healthier and happier gut, but the health benefits of sourdough don't stop there. This bread is also a good source of essential nutrients. During the fermentation process, the activity of the yeast and bacteria helps to enhance the bioavailability of minerals in the flour, making it a nutritious choice. So there you have it. Sourdough bread isn't just about the taste and the craft. It's a loaf packed with health benefits, from aiding digestion and blood sugar control, to boosting gut health and providing essential nutrients. With these health benefits, it's no wonder this bread is a preferred choice for many health-conscious individuals. Making sourdough bread is not just a process, but an art. This statement couldn't be truer. The artistry involved in creating a loaf of sourdough bread goes beyond the basic ingredients of flour, water, and salt. It's about the delicate balance of nature, the understanding of fermentation, and the skillful hand of an artisan. Crafting sourdough bread is a hands-on affair that requires time, patience, and a keen eye for detail. It's not about rushing the process, but about allowing the wild yeast and lactobacilli cultures to work their magic. Each loaf is a labor of love that can take anywhere from a few hours to several days, depending on the desired flavor and texture. This fermentation process is a dance between time and temperature, with the baker serving as the choreographer. By controlling these variables, the baker can coax out a range of flavors from sweet and mild to tangy and robust. The result is a loaf of bread that is unique, with a flavor profile as complex as a fine wine. But the artistry doesn't stop at the flavor. The visual appeal of sourdough bread is equally important. A well-crafted loaf boasts a beautifully blistered crust, a golden hue, and an interior crumb dotted with air pockets, testament to the fermentation process. Each loaf tells a story of the hands that shaped it. In recent years, there's been a growing trend of supporting local bakeries and artisans who dedicate their craft to sourdough bread making. These bakers are not only keeping an ancient tradition alive, but they're also bringing communities together through their shared love for this humble bread. The rise in popularity of farmers markets and artisanal food fairs is a testament to this trend, with sourdough bread often being a star attraction. The art of making sourdough bread is a celebration of simplicity, tradition, and craftsmanship. It's a way of connecting with our past, appreciating the natural world, and savoring the simple joys of life. It's a craft that requires skill, patience, and a deep understanding of the fermentation process. And the result? A deeply satisfying, delicious, and nutritious loaf of bread that nourishes both body and soul. Sourdough bread has a rich history and holds a significant place in various culinary traditions. The tale of sourdough bread begins thousands of years ago. Ancient civilizations from the Egyptians to the Greeks discovered the magic of fermentation and harnessed it to create bread. This was a time when baking was more than a craft. It was a lifeline, a staple in every household. Moving forward in time, sourdough played a pivotal role in the California gold rush in the mid-19th century. Prospectors known as sourdoughs would carry their precious starters to the goldfields, nurturing them as a reliable source of sustenance in harsh conditions. Similarly, in Alaska, sourdough bread holds a special place in the heart of the community, reflecting the resilience and resourcefulness of the early settlers. From the rustic kitchens of rural Europe to the bustling bakeries of San Francisco, sourdough bread has woven its way into the fabric of cultures worldwide. Its universal appeal lies in its simplicity and the skill of the baker, transforming basic ingredients into a loaf of bread with a character all its own. Sourdough is more than just a bread, it's a philosophy. It embodies the slow food movement, a global initiative that encourages people to take time to appreciate the art of food preparation and to understand the origins of what they eat. This movement champions traditional methods and local ingredients, both of which are intrinsic to sourdough baking. In France, for example, boulangeries pride themselves on their artisanal sourdough, or pain au levain, each loaf carrying the distinctive taste of its unique starter. And let's not forget Italy, where sourdough is used in a variety of baked goods, from the classic pane casareccio to the sweet panettone. So, whether it's a tangy San Francisco loaf, a dense German brat, or a chewy French baguette, sourdough bread transcends borders, bringing people together through a shared appreciation of this age-old craft. Sourdough bread is not just a product of fermentation, it's a symbol of a return to traditional baking practices. In recent years, sourdough has seen a resurgence in popularity, thanks in part to social media and food influencers. The modern food scene has embraced this ancient bread with open arms, and it's not hard to see why. With its tantalizing tanginess, unique texture, and health benefits, sourdough has become a staple in many households across the globe. The rise of artisanal and slow-fermented foods has played a significant role in sourdough's comeback. People are yearning for authentic, wholesome foods that nourish both the body and soul. Sourdough, with its simple ingredients and traditional preparation methods, perfectly embodies this trend. It's not just about eating bread, it's about appreciating the craft that goes into making it. But the sourdough revolution doesn't stop there. The pandemic has inspired a wave of home bakers to try their hand at sourdough. With more time spent at home, many have discovered the joy and satisfaction of nurturing a sourdough starter and baking their own loaves. It's a process that requires patience and commitment, but the end product is truly worth the effort. Social media has been a vital platform for this sourdough movement. Food influencers share their baking journeys, offering tips, recipes, and encouragement to their followers. Instagram and YouTube are filled with beautifully scored loaves and bubbly starters, inspiring others to join in the fun. It's a virtual community where bakers, both novice and experienced, can connect and learn from each other. And it's not just about the bread itself. The act of making sourdough has therapeutic qualities, offering a sense of control and creativity in a world that can often feel chaotic. It's a form of mindfulness, a way to slow down and savor the simple pleasures in life. Sourdough's resurgence is more than just a food trend, it represents a shift in our relationship with food. We're moving away from fast, convenient options and towards more mindful, nourishing choices. It's a trend that has connected us with our culinary roots and brought a sense of community and shared experience in these challenging times. Before we wrap up, we promised you some interesting facts about sourdough bread. Let's start with Alaska's sourdough tradition. In the rugged terrain of Alaska, prospectors and settlers were often called sourdoughs, due to their reliance on this hearty bread in the challenging frontier conditions. Next, let's talk about the lifespan of a sourdough starter. Did you know a well-maintained starter can live indefinitely? Some sourdough starters have been lovingly preserved and passed down through generations, with some even being over a century old. Finally, each loaf of sourdough bread is a celebration of microbial diversity. Each sourdough starter is a unique ecosystem of wild yeast and lactobacilli, each contributing to the bread's distinct flavor profile. So there you have it, the magic and mystery of sourdough bread. Next time you take a bite of this tangy, chewy loaf, you'll appreciate the craftsmanship, history, and science behind it.